So, here's the thing. The food system is bigger than you think. The food system doesn't just make food, it makes us. It makes our deepest relationships, it makes our prejudices and our ideas and our hopes. And to show you how powerful today's food system is, and to show you what it is that needs to happen in order for a better one to replace it, I want to ask you a question. And so I'm going to put up a short statement, and I just want to see if anyone agrees with it. Let me just turn that back on, shall I? There we go. When jobs are scarce, men should have more right to a job than women. Would you mind raising your hand if when reading the sentence, when jobs are scarce, men should have more right to a job than women, this is something that you agree with? Okay, not many people, none actually. But so this was a question that was asked in something called the World Attitude Survey. And the country that did best was, of course, Sweden. And only 2% of people in Sweden agree with that. 5.7% of people in the United States agree with this statement. In India, 52% of people agree with that statement. And in Egypt, I can make Egypt happen, there we are, 99.6%. So, why? What is it that explains this difference? If you control for things like income, and if you control for a range of other factors, what is it that's driving this? Let me just ask you. I'm going to throw up a few things. Is the reason that people hold this idea about gender, these prejudices about sex, and women's right to work, is it caused by the presence or absence of oil? In some cases, if one thinks of the countries that are oil-rich, it could be that those countries also, just merely having the oil causes sexism. It could be religion, maybe. It could be underwear advertisements. Does anyone buying that? No? Is it the mainstream media? No? Is it plows? Basically, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to spell out the name. But actually, the correct answer is plows. This was something that was sort of revealed in a fantastic article in the Quarterly Journal of Economics. And the question is, why? How does a plow, having 2 centuries of a plow as part of your agriculture, lend a country more predominantly to hold sexist views? How does a plow cause sexism? How does that work? Well, if you want just one picture that helps show you how the food system works and the relationship between plows and who we are and the modern agriculture, then that picture is this one. Let's bring it back. Come back. Uh-oh. Have I just killed? There it is. We're going to edit this out. There it is. Mr. and Mrs. Andrews. So, here's this picture, although it was painted in 1750, is really the embodiment of modern agriculture. And I'm just going to go through its elements and just sort of give you a sense of why this picture helps us understand the relationship between modern food, sexism, and agricultural technology. So first of all, of course, you have the patriarch. That's Mr. Robert Andrews. He came into all of this land by marrying Frances Andrews. And look at him. I mean, he is wearing hunting gear, which is the most louche, the most kind of sloppy that you can be in public. I mean, this is the sort of 1750s kiss the chef apron that he's wearing. It's really very relaxed. He's just like, and he is a patriarch, and he has a certain relationship to this land. He has his dog. He has a relationship to the animal life. He clearly he owns the land, and you can see that he has an enclosure there. That would have been land on which peasant farmers would have worked, would have driven their cattle, by enclosing land and by preventing people from dairying, for example, you create the circumstances in which gender equality arises. By having no space for women to do agricultural work, dairying was women's work in Britain at this time, in England at this time. To remove the possibilities of dairying, it means that there's no market for women's agricultural work. There are no cows there are sheep. And so you can find in the process of enclosure the beginning of a wage differential. You see how that works? Right? You enclose the land, there's no space for women to do dairying work, there's no cattle, all of a sudden women's work is worth less. At the same time, of course, you have his product. You see that the wheat there is in nice, neat rows, ploughed furrows, with seed possibly planted using a seed drill. The seed drill invented in 1704 by Jethro Tull. That's where the band gets its name from, just so you know. But you have this. I mean, this is a really modern farm. He had journal articles published, like on the smut on wheat and on the profit in the modern farm. So this is really a cutting-edge modern industrial farm, and that product is made possible by buying labour. Right? You see the nice, neat sheaves of wheat, but you don't see the workers. You don't see the sort of footprint that made this possible. You don't see the trace of the money that was brought from the New World to pay for this land. You don't see the sweat of the worker's brow. You don't see any workers at all. You just see the stuff. And perhaps what you see most of all is power. What you see is, particularly when you compare Mr. Andrews to Mrs. Andrews, you see a stark difference. You see Mr. Andrews all like that, and Mrs. Andrews absolutely upright. Some people have looked at this picture and said, well, there seems to be a gap in the canvas here, and that some people say was going to be where either a bird shot with his gun using his dog to retrieve it from his land would have been painted in, or perhaps a junior Andrews. But either way, under the prevailing system where women's work was devalued and women were brought more firmly into the household and to be given specific gendered tasks, the overarching theme that people see when they critics see when they look at this is the idea of power and of ownership. So this is how the plough fits into the big picture, right? The plough doesn't cause sexism, but having a system of agriculture in which you have monoculture, you have enclosure, you have disruptions to what is women's work and men's work, all of that contributes to embedded and enduring sexism. And in fact, there's an Islamic quote attributed to the Prophet himself that says that a plough doesn't enter the home, but servitude does too. So how do we end this? Obviously, throwing ploughs away is not going to end sexism. You can't get out of this situation with the same technology and thinking that gets you into it. So how do you undo that? Well, that's why Esther and Anita are here. I've been following their work for now 10 years, and they've done incredible work, not just in growing food differently. They've become farmer researchers, and they've done things like rediscovered and re-engineered the milpa system. So you have corn and beans and squash growing in ways that look very familiar to people in the Americas, but this is from Anita's home farm in Malawi. But more than that, they've organized to make transformative change happen. They've organized things like recipe days, which I'll tell you about a little later on. But recipe days are both ways of cooking and eating differently, but also transforming relations between men and women and between mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law. And it's incredible work. And what I'd like to do is just show you a short clip from some of the work that Anita and Esther and the Soils, Food and Healthy Communities Project has done. This was put together by our team. Steve James directed this. Steve James did Hoop Dreams back in the day. He's our executive director on this project, and I'm very excited to show you about 5 minutes of some of the work that's happening in Malawi. In northern Malawi, farmers have found that it's possible for children to remain malnourished despite nutritious food being available. One solution breaks the rules of inequality at their most intimate, reducing the burdens on women by getting husbands to help out more in the kitchen. Anita Chitaya is a leader in her village of Bwabwa, and she's helping other families to turn women's work into men's work too. Today, she visits her neighbours, Jennifer and Winston, with a gift.
Kwani kuno kwitu ndikutaka ngatakhalira
uno mwakhalira nandi ndiponso apo vikusuzika chomene kuno mwanyitu mwanalume chigaya chinu chitu chakubwako mungu vipulikisika makolacha vajenda muchari kukaika
sitingakwanisi nati umwe sanga watereka nkhari
wechikwa chakusuza ya mlamu chikwa chakusuza mungachepe chamba
so wanyani vafika utata mchezo bwe sanguti ni nafukaza bwenini nti ngwene bwe icho chikuchipikira mwanakazi wali para nani
ya ivangaseka ya mlamu kutola mukuona mlamu oro mu Bible uyu wakalenga Adamu chiuta kalenga Adamu na kuyoya kuti wakasanga kuti munthu lawana phukwa uchitachita ukharakhala kuti nikupangire pa mauviri munthu wakuti wakuuvire ngeko mwanakazi dangu lake ni isitiwa uviri va iwe
bwenguta nani joine kuna mnini wane wakusuzika bwena nikujoinira kusinda kwa nyengo ndimoniri na so tuicha chini cha 2 years so kuti muleke bana chakusuza leka nili mbani peni pa kweniwe wakuti mtimwana wafuma kuti ndikukapo kwenkhanana tikasupana ukapo ana nilikire njani suziko iyi wokuinga kakumola mwakazi nango towa pa nyumba kweni mbwe ngasanga kuti ipo nikhale nilele bana bana kulekera banyaku bana bangakwanisika cha suziko ipa pakale inenga niko mpakana iwo ndio bashitwa baonde kwa kambula kuti kuyana na ina nimpakana.
A year later, and Jennifer's husband still hasn't improved. But with Anita's help, Jennifer's life has become better. This is women's empowerment, not wives' empowerment after all. So now, Jennifer is teaching agro-ecological farming to other women in the community, paying it forward to the next generation. I wanted to end it there, just to show you how hard it is. But with organising of the kind that Anita and Esther do, it takes a while. It took 4 years for then Winston and Jennifer to act, for basically Winston to stop being an ass and to recognise his power and to start helping out in the home. And now he's built his wife a new home and is on the village climate change committee. Now, this is not just an isolated case. I mean, while under-5 stunting in Malawi, while malnutrition in Malawi really hasn't gone down very much at all over the past 15 years, in the area where Anita and Esther work, the neonatal rehabilitation unit where malnourished children are sent, those admissions have gone from just a little shy of 300 to now to a stage where the unit has closed down for want of cases. And that's happened for $8 per person per year in a country that's being robbed of resources by our development agencies. But perhaps the most significant theft is the theft of rain. And Anita and Esther are going to talk about it. The reason that we're here together is that Anita said, look, I understand that America causes climate change. And she's right. If you look at the climate debt, the cumulative CO2 emissions of the planet, the United States has a huge climate debt. And yet, if you look at the kinds of place where the most vulnerable people are, the most vulnerable to climate change, of course, it's Malawi, and it's sub-Saharan Africa. And so Anita and Esther are here to find out more about the US food system, but also to engage in some very hard conversations around climate change. And so I'd like to hand it over first to Anita and then to Esther to say a few words if you wouldn't mind. But it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Anita Chitaya and Esther Lupafya of the Soils, Food and Healthy Communities Project.
Good evening.
Naungajomene wakuti napasika mwali wakuti nimuphalireni masuzgo ayo ine nkasangana nayo ayo tukusangana nayo kukaya kwitu.
I'm very thankful.
I'm very thankful that you have all gathered here to listen to my story of all the challenges that we have met in Malawi.
Ine mwakulikagale mtindini Anita kufuma 1991 nkaba muntu wokusuzikira chomene bana nkabana babiri abo bagaba malnutrition.
As you've already heard, my name is Anita. I have been going through a lot. I have had 2 children who were very malnourished from the year 1991.
Chifukwa cha kusowa fetereza kwa kuti tilime chakulya mbwenu chakulya chasowa ngabanyo.
We didn't have enough food at home just because we couldn't afford fertilizer to use in our farms.
Ndipo ntchito zinandi kufuma vyaka hivyo ine ninagwiranga chomene kweni afumu wane bagwiranga kupachoko.
I have been working hard for my family, and I have been like the sole worker because I've been doing most of the things. My husband would work, yes, but not much.
Bala tutenge kumunda vina kuti niye jemberawo jemberane ndikuti nina ntumbo mwana watumsana tikuta kumunda tamulima kula tamwera nyingo imoza namye yaso nkuni kula kuzakafika pa nyumba maji kutali niutenge kudambo namne ya maji nizakapike chakurya pala na chedo mbwe bakunichai.
Some of the hardships that I've been going through were going to the farm with my husband, but I would carry everything as a woman, as a wife. With our culture, we respect our husbands. I would take my children, and those times, even when you're pregnant, you have one child at the back, you're pregnant, you go to the farm, you cultivate the farm together, leave the farm together, but you still carry everything. But I needed to also attend to my family and to cook. I would collect some firewood from the farm, then we walk back together with my husband back home. At home, we need to prepare water and water for him to take a bath and the kids for food. We used to go to a water source which is quite far from the house. We carried the water, but at times when you come back late, the husband would come have his doubts, where have you been, why were you late, and they will end up fighting. So that means at that time I would suffer, and as a result the kids were also suffering.
So no kufuma 2000 mwe mama Esther akatisambizga nthowa kuti kamungalima yayi paka mama Esther na lesho kuti tiwezgere kundira mdongo tiwe na chakulya chinandi baada na chakulya chinandi umoyo na wenge wenge.
So around the year 2000, Mama Esther Lupafya and a team from her workplace came and found us, and they taught us how to farm the agro-ecology way, and they helped them in ways of revitalizing the soil.
So akatipasa mbewu za mgulu la nchunga, mbewu kakavasyava, pigeon pea, groundnut, uyu bambala nati,
so they gave us seeds in the legume grouped, seeds like beans, groundnuts, peas, and pigeon peas, cow peas, so that we should grow and that these seeds should bring back nitrogen to the soil. So we plant these seeds interchangingly, 1, 2, 3, and in an interchanging way.
So tikati tasitayamba kusanga kuchakulya pachoko mbwenu vakazakatisambizira kuti kapikiro kangeti kamanyanga kapikiro.
As we had done that, we started getting food. Then as we were getting enough food, they came again and taught us how to cook the food that we grow. They also came and taught us about gender issues.
Ngasanga kuti afumu vane vasintha sono tikugwira ntchito pamoza mabajeti yose tikupangira pamoza kweni isuzo yo tilinayo ngakuchepa kwa ufulu.
With the training, by and by, my husband changed. Now he's helping me at the house. We do work together, we do budgets together. But now the main problem that has just come is the coming of the climate change. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Esther Lupafya, as she has already said. I am a nurse midwife by profession, but I also did community health and social development and health. So I am one of the nurses who was doing mobile clinics at the hospital for so many years. I was in fact maternal child health coordinator. Now what we were doing was going to the mobile clinics, doing under 5 clinics. It means we're giving vaccines to the children and screening the children. One of the problems which we had was we had a lot of children who were malnourished. Apart from that, a lot of children who were anemic. So these were the major problems which we had. Now what we did was to ask the government, with the help of some donors, that they should try and give us some food that we can give to the children, because children were dying. World Food Program came in, they were giving us the porridge made from soya beans and maize, which we were distributing to the children. And at the same time, a lot of children were taken to admit them at the hospital, like Raj said, a nutrition rehabilitation center, where we were feeding them intensive milk, porridge, medicine, and all sorts of things to improve their malnutrition. So some children had kwashiorkor, some children marasmus. And that problem was so much that we even started doing community gardens to say maybe we should go twice a week to every village and help them to cultivate their own vegetables. Maybe they can be feeding the children. That was not enough. Until 1998, when a student came from Guaf, who was, who is a friend or knows Raj. When she came, she didn't come to a Gwendale hospital, but she came to Relief and Development. That is one unit of Livingstonia Synod. And then after she came, she said she wanted to work with 10 vulnerable households. She wanted to grow vegetables, and but using liquid manure as her research in her master's degree. And then the department said, I don't think you can find those poorest households. So the doctor who was directing primary health care at the hospital said, don't worry, I'll give you one person who will help you. I was the one. And when she came to me, we didn't take long. I said, there are lots of vulnerable women, and these widows, they are suffering. They will be very pleased to find a small girl like you to help them. So we went. In the afternoon, Rachel had the 10 women. She was very excited. And these women, in short, they started growing very good vegetables, different types. And two things happened. They were eating their own vegetables, and their excess, they were selling. So at least they were having an income, at the same time food, plus sharing some vegetables to their neighbors. And many people in the catchment area started admiring. They really wanted to do the same like those women. I wrote to Rachel to say, Rachel, women are very interested. Not only women, but people are very interested to grow vegetables like you did. So she said, oh, I'm writing, I have to finish my master's, blah, blah. I said, fine. But when you finish that, please think about that again, because people want to work with you. And then after some time, Rachel was told again to say, please, can you come? And then she said, oh, that will be my chance to do my PhD. And when I do my PhD, now we can look at a broader way. Instead of just looking at vegetables, we can improve soil, food security, and health of the children. And I said, yes, there are lots of women who are interested and men, so you can come. Then she came. That time now she came from Cornell University, where he was also. Then when she came, we started the program. We started with 7 villages, with 112 farmers. Among those farmers, 30 farmers volunteered to be the farmer research team. Now what was happening to do the research, find out of the legumes which Anita has mentioned, plus the maize and sorghum, to see which ones are going to help and which ones can one intercrop in order to succeed. Now, like I said, the aim was first to improve soil fertility. The second was food security. The fourth was health of the children. You have the food, you have the soil which you can grow food, nice. You have the food enough for the family. Then you want to feed the children. And then we said, apart from that, we're also doing in-depth interviews in households, of which Anita's household was one of them, as she was one of the first 30 farmer research team members. So in those in-depth interviews, we were asking the households how they were staying, and we discovered that there was a lot of domestic violence, and a lot of people didn't know how to cook. A lot of people didn't know about at first we were saying 3 food groups, now we say 6 food groups. They didn't know. So we knew there's a lot to be done, which we can't do, but the farmers themselves, they can do. So we started by teaching about recipe demonstrations. Those recipe demonstrations, we were using their own crops which they were growing. So you would teach the 30, and then the 30 would teach the rest of the farmers. It grew so much that a lot of farmers joined. Now, as I'm talking, we have over 15,000 farmers who are doing the program. And the Nutrition Rehabilitation Center is completely closed. That was not enough. We were saying, when people have harvested, there are still some things which are there, which they need to know. Gender. Because, like Anita was saying, you could see crops like groundnuts, soya was harvested only by women. The men only wanted to harvest maize because it was fast. So this woman was sitting down, taking a long time, doing a lot of work. So then we said, no, we should look at gender inequality. Let us address this. And what did we do? What we did was, one, we sensitized everyone who was working in a Weden hospital by Soil, Food and Health Community team and the HIV/AIDS program team. After sensitizing them, then we started saying we should first do gender campaign. So by gender campaign, it means we hired 7-ton truck with a PS system, the youth inside, with so many members. Then we were singing songs. We composed the songs which had a lot of gender messages, poems and dramas. Now, we were doing whistle stopping, the whole catchment area, 2 weeks. The area is about 600 square kilometers, population of over 120,000 people. We are highly populated in Malawi. The country is very small. We are 17,000 people, highly populated. 7 million people, highly populated. And then, after we have done that, people were very interested to come because of the dancing and the singing. But at the end of the day, they were getting the messages. And we were telling them, each one of you can pick a song which we are dancing. As you are having a shower or a bath, you can be singing, gender, mama, gender, mama, gender. Pasakale usiana, kogwira chito, muma ofesi, kakale kumuzi. Things like those. Now a man is remembering, why am I singing this song? This song is saying, there should not be a difference between a man and a woman. In the home, even in the offices, wherever you are, men and women should be the same when we are working. So we said, after doing that, then we trained the top people. 480 people were trained. After training them, then we started training. That was classroom work. Even the doctor in the hospital, everyone was trained. Then we trained the community. After that, we started the gender discussion groups. Now it means we come in a family where there are children, father, mother, grandmother. We are chatting, talking about how do you live, who does what, how do you share responsibility, who goes to draw what, who does the cooking, what time do you wake up, who wakes up, such type of things. Until people realized it's very true. We need to work together. Because at the end of the day, everybody should be treated as equals. Men were saying, oh, we are the people who are supposed to be superior. God created us first. And the woman is from from the man. Eh? So, for me, I always say, I think women, if they say that, they don't know what they are talking about. Because, as far as I know, one, when God created the world, everything after creating, he was saying it is good. He created whatever, said it is good. Oh, this garden is beautiful. I need to create Adam. After creating Adam, he said it's good. He is alone. He needs someone to help him. Then Eve. But when men are saying, and that woman was to help him, when men are saying the woman is coming from them, I tell them no. The time the woman was created, a man was fast asleep. He didn't even hear the pain that his rib was taken out. So he didn't do any job to claim that he's the one who worked very hard. When you tell them that, I think it's when they realize, oh, it is very true. We didn't do anything. We needed to help each other. So this is what happens. Now, in our catchment area, what I can say is, one, the nutrition rehabilitation center is closed. One, there is food security. People are growing indigenous crops. They are intercropping. they are using legumes, they are using manure. And people are food secure. For some time, for some years, people have been food secure until last year. And then children, no malnutrition, every child well fed, because of the receipt and the food, people are growing their own food. But now, after all that effort we have done, from last year, we have drought. We grow our crops, planting and the like. Maybe you planted today because it rained, it will take another 4 weeks, not even a drop of rain. And for the vulnerable people in Malawi, the seed which they kept, it's the only seed which they had. Then they have no any other seed to plant. We have gone back because of climate change. So you can see, people can say you don't work hard in Africa. That's why you are poor. We work very hard. We wake up early in the morning to go to the garden. We very, very hard we work. But now, the natural disaster. So we are saying this climate change, who is causing it? We are also causing it in Africa. One, not everyone has electricity for cooking. We have to cut trees. The people in town, they have to use charcoal, which people burn in the community to give them. Because the hydro, the water is very low, it can't generate enough electricity. As a result, they should do this side, road shading, this side today, electricity, this afternoon, no electricity. While you are cooking, electricity goes off. You find electricity again tomorrow. These things are happening. And then, because of that, we are cutting those trees. We have no water. We have a lake, which has fresh water, a lot of fish. But now even the lake is getting dry because of the rains. People say you must do irrigation in Africa. Can you do irrigation when there is no water? The streams are dry. People are digging down in the sand to find water to drink. If you have a borehole, you have to 20,000 people have to get water from one borehole. If you are lucky, it may be 2 villages, maybe 2,000-3,000 people. But then the water table is very low. If you go to draw water, you can take 2-3 hours. You are still waiting for water. So the problem is climate change. Now, when we came here, we said, well, maybe our friends in America, because everywhere we go, there's water. There are trees. Everything is there. Oh, they have water, they have trees. We go to the gardens, they have enough water for irrigation. Everything is there. You are growing corn for animals. You are growing soya for animals. We are growing corn for us to eat. We grow soya. When I say we have food security, it means you have enough soya to feed the children and our families. We have enough corn to feed ourselves and all the children and everyone. Now, if we do not have the rains to grow the soya and the corn and the beans and pigeon pea and sorghum, cow pea, it means we have no food. Malnutrition will go back to square one. It means we'll still have children admitted. Then we'll still want World Food Program to come and give us food to distribute. And when they are distributing the food, you give 5 kg to a child. But in that family, there are 7 people. How long can you eat 5 kg as a family while you are 7 people? It's 1 meal. That 5 kg is gone. Those are the problems that we are having. Now my question is, how can we help each other to fight the problem of climate change? You may not feel it, but one day you will feel it. Thank you. Yeah.
I hate to interrupt, but just, you've asked a great question to them, but they would like to ask you questions. So this would be the time. We have about 15 minutes, is that right? For y'all to ask us questions. And I wonder if anyone is ready to kick us off. I'm Texan, I'm allowed to say that. I have a license to say that. And occasionally all y'all. So, yeah, there we are, fantastic. Would you mind standing up?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, so gender inequality and soil depletion, you guys have talked a lot about the solutions to these problems, which is great, but I'm curious about the origins of them. If you see them more as coming from, as a result of colonialism and imperialism. Agro-ecology, when it's talked about here, is often talked about something as a lot of indigenous strategies for agriculture are much better in stewarding the land. I'm curious where you see those problems arising from and how that impacts your work.
I think for the problems, at first, our soil was completely spoiled. Our first president, Dr. Hastings Kamusubanda, he encouraged us to do monocropping, and at the same time, he encouraged us to use fertilizer. The reason was he subsidized the price of fertilizer, that even a very poor person managed fertilizer. 1994, we went into multi-party system or democracy. And from that time, we were told that we will be given coupons and the fertilizer will be given whatever. But from 1994, then we started suffering because a few people managed to buy fertilizer. Now, with the soil which is already spoiled, with the chemical fertilizer, we're not yielding anything. So that's why we started doing the agro-ecology, which is use of organic manure. We are using crops to make the crop residue, to make the soil fertile, and planting our own indigenous crops. We are still having the issue of we should be buying Monsanto and Sejeta seed, which is GMO. I think we are having problems with that. Our farmers are still resisting to that. We are growing our own organic crops. So the main problem came because of the soil was spoiled. Now we improved the soil, that's why we say we are food secure. I hope I have answered it.
So, yeah.
What can people in this room do to help you? How can we use the power of this room and the concern and care that is here to do something that's beneficial for you and ultimately for us?
You want to start? Yeah. Anita, start. Start, then I finish. Chingala chiwemi kuti kuchepeskako ivo nanga mvipoiti.
Firstly, it would be nice if we can reduce the causes that gases that spoil the atmosphere.
Na kuti pakakungala mwali kuti panyake tingasangako mbewu.
Yeah, I think I can continue by saying one of the things how you can help us is maybe if you can continue using solar energy. If you can you can use so much solar energy, it means you are going to reduce a lot of all this. From here, where I'm standing, up to there, a lot of electricity. All this is the power. It means how many people are using electricity now, how many factories, how many aeroplanes you are flying all over now. If we can reduce some of these, I'm not saying we should stop. I'm saying if we can reduce. Because if we stop aeroplanes, how do I come to America? How do you go to Africa? We still need to travel. But if we can minimize where we can, contact and dialogue. If we can be discussing where we have disagreed, then we will stop creating lots of nuclear power, lots of weapons and all those things, which disturb the atmosphere. Such type of things. And again, for the people who are in here, you cannot do that. But if you can be having forums where you can share the problems which are there in Africa. If you can be in a forum or in a church to say, or anywhere, how can we help our friends in Africa? 2 or 3 people were here. They were saying there is climate change, which we are not experiencing, which they are experiencing. And what can we do to reduce that? I think for here you can Google, you can use internet, you can find all that to find the causes. And later on, start fighting the causes which can help us. As I'm talking, maybe 3, 4, 5 children have already died with malnutrition, lack of food. Not only in Malawi, Africa continent as a whole. Children really die because of hunger. In Denza where we are working, also in the central region, one day we had 7 deaths because they had no food. The other family, the whole family died because they went to pick mushroom, which were not edible, very poisonous, but they wanted to eat. So these things really happen. If you see on TV, that is not just news or something to make people laugh. No, it's real. People are dying.
I wonder if I can add to that by using the work that SFHC does, Soils, Food and Healthy Communities. So everyone agrees that patriarchy is a bad thing. I mean, hands up if you like patriarchy. Nobody going to that. So understanding that, gentlemen in this room, we have work to do, that we have benefited all our lives from unearned privilege, and it's a lifelong project to flay it out of ourselves. That's a reasonable project, right? I mean, we would be asses if we didn't do that. You know, that seems right. We got to do that. But if we acknowledge that we are the recipients of unearned privilege, why stop there? Why not recognize that in the United States, this economy is fueled by emissions that prejudice the possibility of Malawian children being able to eat? Why not recognize that the wealth in this country was produced on the back of slavery? Why not recognize that the organization of this country has cruelly revealed recently, but has since the country was founded, been based on white supremacy? If patriarchy is bad, and it is, then can we not put our arms more broadly around why it is that unearned privilege happens and what it is that our responsibility is to tackle that? And if we admit that, and it's not easy to admit that, but if we admit it, then surely we need to be thinking about reparations. Reparations for slavery, reparations for climate debt. And that's a much harder conversation to have. It would be much easier to drive a Prius and have done with it. But we're not doing that. We can't stop that because this is the call. And I think that what we've seen is that it is possible for the powerful to recognize their privilege and to be changed. And it's a lifelong project. And it's baby steps every day for 5 years, and then change happens. And that seems to me the deep call from Soils, Food and Healthy Communities. It's for us to recognize our power through this a comprehensive approach, not just shopping organic, but taking out the old food system root and branch and putting something much more systematically just in its place. Next question.
So following up on that, then maybe bringing the conversation back to food in America and large agribusiness and their impact on emissions and growing and putting lots of water and grain towards raising of cattle in this country. Like, how do we go specifically maybe against that type of business and reframing food in America and kind of eliminating these large agribusinesses that are polluting the environment through their large amounts of kind of cattle industry
Well, thank you for the last question. Do you want to lead and then Anita?
Yeah, I can say, I think with the farming here, one of the things that we have seen is you use a lot of machinery. Apart from using a lot of machinery, I think there's a lot of chemicals which are sprayed and all those things. Now, the fact that you use a lot of machinery, one farmer can use maybe 200 liters of fuel. The other one. If we add that, it means we are really interfering with the atmosphere. That is one thing which we are saying. Yes, you can grow all that, you can feed all that, but machinery. There are so many which are being used.
Okay. In that case, I mean, I do think that actually these corporations thrive because the rules of the system are engineered by them for them. Right? This is why Stone Barns is an isolated, well, not isolated example. I mean, we've seen amazing examples everywhere from black dirt farms to T-town farms in Detroit. I mean, we've
been so many places, and we have seen. What we are saying, this is towards the end of our trip. We have seen quite a lot. We have been all over America, and we have met a lot of farmers, and we have seen what is happening. I've driven through tractors.
For the first time. But I mean, and I think that's important. It's important to pierce our imaginations, right? We've become so inured to the possibilities of change that the only way that we can imagine doing things differently is by, we will boycott these corporations. We're just going to become vegetarian, or we're going to try and not have high fructose corn syrup in our stuff. That'll bring them down. But of course, that's not. I mean, sure, moving gently away from a diet that has a high carbon footprint to one that has a low one. This is obviously a good idea, but that doesn't stop the rules of the game being rigged. And part of the most intricate part of that rigging is again about how the food system works. It works on our imaginations to think that the only way we change it is by shopping. So I'm not saying don't vote with your fork. You should vote with your fork, but don't think that that's voting, really. And you should vote with your votes, but that's not really democracy. Voting is the last thing in democracy. Before you cast your vote, the process of being democratic has really been taken away from us, because it's choosing between Coke and Pepsi. That's not democracy at all. That's the opposite, right? I mean, that's a very constrained kind of flip of the coin to two things that are basically the same. But the United States under neoliberalism has systematically crushed the possibilities of organizing and imagining differently. And many of the things that we love about this country have been earned and won through blood, through imagining a very different America, an America where there is justice, where there is equality. But that didn't happen by shopping. It didn't happen by boycotting a corporation or two. That happened by us seeing what that better world would be like. And part of the reason that I'm here, and I'm grateful for your having joined me this evening, is because through the work of Esther and Anita, through Soils, Food and Healthy Communities, through many of the most amazing organizations right here in the United States, and Stone Barns is one of them, it is possible to imagine and to see that world, and to see the organizing that we have to undertake to get there. And it is going to involve some difficult confrontations with our own privilege and power. And we will fail and we will slip. And it is up to our comrades who love us deeply to point out where we are wrong. And I'm in a kind of a loving relationship. When I slip back into patriarchy, I am told and I am grateful. It's not easy, but it's the right thing to do. And to try and hold oneself open, to hold that space for these difficult conversations that must lie ahead, I think is what I learned from this shining example. And I hope you take some of that, you're able to take some of that away with you this evening. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah.